you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am not the expert of the Middle East. I'm just a broadcaster who broadcasts toward Iran. The subject of this seminar is communicating democratic values to the Middle East. It means in itself that in the Middle East there are communities, countries, population that do not have access to democratic values. And they need to communicate to them from abroad. That's what we are doing. We, I mean, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, and in this particular case, Radio Farda, the Iran service of Radio Free Europe. Iran service broadcasts 24/7 in Persian language from Prague to Iran. We, as a delivery outlet, we use 4 satellites, 1 medium wave transmitter, 15 shortwave transmitters, and of course internet. This organization is founded by United States Congress. This is an important point, and if the time permits, I will come back to this point. The degree of reception of the democratic values in the Middle East is not the same. Iran, Pakistan, or I don't know if I can compare Iran with Yemen, have not the same degree of receptivity for democratic values. Even inside the same country, different regions have not the same degree of democratic culture. But as a whole, I think Iranian population has a solid base of reception for democratic values. As a proof, I remind you the huge demonstrations in Tehran in June 2009, where the state sources confirmed that more than 4 million people were in the streets of only Tehran chanting, "Where is my vote?" That was a huge jump in a social conscience of Iranians, and the expansion of the democratic values inside the society, even inside the families. Preventing these people of information is not easy task. You know, the common point of all dictators, one of the main common points, is their wish to censor the information, to force the people to believe the truth that they wish, their truth, not the impartial truth. These dictators could be from Hitler and Stalin to Kim Jong-un or Khomeini. Principle is the same. In all cases, they try to put obstacles and bumpers on the way of free flow of information in any kind they can. We in Radio Farda, we do a surrogate journalism. I mean, the journalists working in Radio Farda, in Iran service of RFRL, think that if they were free to work in Iran, what they could write and say. That's they do from abroad. This is an important point. I will, again, talking about the solution, will return to this point, because that's a big difference between an international Persian-speaking media and the surrogate Iranian media. That's a big difference. What what a dictator regime, and in this particular case, the Iranian regime, fears is exactly the free flow of information. They do not like the people to know everything about everything. Obstacles and challenges on our job is in three domains. I can say upstream, downstream, and on journalists themselves. I will make short because time is passing quickly. We cannot have any physical presence. When I say we, I mean Iranians speaking media broadcasting from abroad. That can be the BBC Persian, VOA Persian, Manoto TV in UK or Radio Farda. We do not have, and we cannot have any physical presence inside the country. We cannot have stringers, reporters. The officials do not answer our calls, and even people who are not officials, like scholars, journalists, experts, or lawyers, they are warned, they have been warned not to answer our contacts. Even the ordinary people, when they send an SMS message to Radio Farda, they receive automatically a warning from the Ministry of Intelligence. Recently, I got knowledge of existing of an office in Iran. It's very interesting. The office of tracking phone calls to foreign media. To track the phone calls to the foreign media, an office has been created inside the Ministry of Intelligence. So you see the degree of the harassment of the people who work on information. Another challenge is on the delivery. Satellites are jammed. Sometimes even satellite on air in the sky was jammed in 2009, 2010. Now satellite signals are jammed inside the cities. That's a big scandal inside Iran. Our medium wave is jammed and our internet is filtered. How we do and what we do, that goes to the second panel about the solution, and from our side, Radio Farda side, Fred Petrosian, the editor-in-chief of our website, is here and will give you information. And worse, the journalists and their families are constantly harassed by the Iranian intelligence inside the country and outside. Just one example I will give you is that the information about the private life of the journalists have been published on internet, mixed with gossips. So you can imagine how much the journalists and their families will be taken under a psychological pressure. In remaining 1 minute, I will talk about how can Europe effectively reach people. Very shortly, in the United States, governments may change, but they believe in democratic values are unchangeable. United States Congress directly funds the United States international broadcasting, not George Bush government or Barack Obama government. In European Union, there are 28 countries with 28 different policies. Some of them are courageous in this field. For example, Czech Republic hosted RFURL in Prague, Václav Havel, great Václav Havel. And they hosted Radio Farda. On the price of Iran, called back his ambassador. What do other countries? Well, UK has the BBC. BBC for itself is a big institution. I don't know how much can we put the BBC on the account of the European Union. It existed long before. Inside the European Union, the big countries like France, Germany, or Netherlands, they finance Persian-speaking radios targeting Iran. But these radios have been reduced recently just to 3 websites. One solution, probably, just as a matter of discussion, can be to put this task of defending the democratic values under the responsibility of European Parliament, not member states. If they will do anything, welcome, why not? But in Europe, you have 28 different policies, but European Parliament has just one policy on the democratic values. If you like or not, in the world of today, there are 2 great poles of democracies, United States and European Union. I will not diminish the importance of democratic values in Canada or New Zealand or Australia, but the main poles of UK and EU, US and EU. Well, in EU, you have Euronews. It's founded by European Commission. But Euronews, even though has a Persian language program, is a European media made for European audience, but broadcast in a dozen of languages. It's not targeted to transfer to communicate democratic values to Middle East. One proposal, you will forgive me for passing the time, can be to put the whole efforts of European Union about the communicating democratic values under the responsibility and supervision, direct supervision of European Parliament. Thank you.